What is up, guys? So I ended up recreating the Good Looking Loser Approach Anxiety program that I contributed to a long time ago. Unfortunately, Good Looking Loser isn't, the site is down right now. I haven't talked to Chris in I think about a year. I don't know if it's going back up. I assume not. But I created a new version of it. It's a bit more updated, some modern updates, some 2023, 2024 updates of what is acceptable. Not that it was that bad, but anyways, I'm not going to get into that. So essentially, if you don't know what this is, it's about cold approaching. It's about eliminating the approach anxiety that you experience when trying to go up and talk to a girl, because it's very, very difficult. And what this program has you do is essentially build yourself up to learning that skill, to managing that anxiety, that nervousness that you feel as you're wanting to go, because when you see a girl, you want to be able to move within 3 seconds, or you're going to talk yourself out of it. And that's not easy. It's very difficult. So we're just slowly building up momentum, exposure. I mean, that's really how you deal with anxiety for the most part. And so there's going to be three types approaches that we're going to make. The first one is about asking for time or directions. Super simple. You're just going up, hey, do you happen to know the time? Second one, you're going to do a follow-up. So you could say, hey, do you know where Miko's, if you're in a mall, which is really like one of the better places to do it. Hey, do you know where Miko's Sushi is? And then, she says yes or no, whatever. And then you can say, do you know if it's any good? I guess assuming if she says yes. Or, do you know any other good restaurants in this mall or places to eat or something along that? You can get creative. The fact is that you're just initially talking to them, and then you're getting used to having a follow-up, where you're not just like going up and just saying something and then running away, that you're having a conversation. And then the third and final type is actually having the intent to get their number. And that starts with exactly what you say to them. So you go up to a girl, and you it could be situational, which is like if you're in a bookstore and she's like browsing a certain type of book, you can say, you can talk about that author, or talk about the genre that she's looking at, or whatever it may be. Maybe look on your phone before, if she's holding a book, to get some information about it, and fake having some knowledge about that book or whatever. But for the most part, you just want to be straight. You always want to have something in mind for what you can say. So literally just going up and being like, hey, I know this is a bit different, but I thought you're kind of cool, and I just wanted to say hi. Like, it really doesn't need to be anything more complicated than that. Just putting yourself out there, having genuine intent of just introducing yourself. Don't seem threatening, and just being polite about it. Read their body language. If they're like kind of closed off, check to make sure they don't have a ring on their finger before you approach them. But for the most part, keep it short, keep it simple, be direct. Ask if they, just mention you wanted to say hi. If you really wanted, you could just ask them if they wanted to hang out sometime. I've never really did that. I've always kind of built the conversation up first, and then was able to tell based on the reception if they wanted to keep talking, and then I'd go for the number. But anyway, we'll get into all that. So you can upgrade your approaches. As we said, the first type, asking time or directions. Second one, follow up to build the conversation. The third type of approach is with the intent to get their number. But if you're talking to a girl, so I always remembered this one girl in the mall. I can't remember if it was time or directions. And I was actually going through this program, even though I contributed to it, but I did go through it all. And her the way she responded, like she was like almost waiting for a guy to just, as if she was like doing laps around the mall, and just waiting for a guy to come up and talk to her, because she was so seemingly enamored by just the reception of me going up and talking to her. And I was kind of thrown off by that, and I just got the answer of the time or the directions or whatever it may be, and then I just left. I'm like, oh my God, I was just killing myself, because I knew this girl would have 100% been into me, and been willing to give me her number. So if you are in that position, if things are if you're only one task for the time and things are going well, go for the number. Just have something in mind. You don't feel pressured to do it, because that's really not the intent here. The intent is just getting used to going up and talking to women. But if the opportunity does present itself, be capable of, closing, I guess, and going for the number. Oh, what's next? So I wrote down, and I have the actual program, as this is going to be a lot better just to rely on through written form. I talk a little bit more about the situational openers, but some examples is like, hey, I know this is a bit out of the blue, but would you want to hang out sometime, as I just mentioned? Say, I'm Ross, by the way, here's my number if you ever want to chat. I always like giving them my number so they don't have to like give it to a random, just, especially due to the circumstances of like just a stranger approaching them like that. And yeah, just when you get their number, hey, we should chill sometime, or, would you ever want to hang out? Doesn't need to be anything more than that. Now, it's really important, and this is, it's a mindset, but you really need to understand that the goal is the approach itself, not the outcome. Never, don't put yourself, like any guy can get lucky. Well, not any guy, but, assuming you're, reasonably well put together, you can get lucky. You can approach a girl, she can be into you. You can get laid from it, but it doesn't mean that you actually reduce your approach anxiety. Yet, the opposite can happen. You can just get a whole bunch of rejections, but you're actually going up and talking to women, and that helps. So frame success as the approach itself, because especially, you're probably going to be a bit of a nervous wreck in the beginning. They might be able to tell. It doesn't really matter. I mean, for the most part, if a girl likes you, if a girl's available, that really won't impact it. I mean, everybody gets nervous, and, it might even have a better, you might come across better just being like a real person that, gets nervous than like some super smooth, cool dude that, hooks up a lot or whatever. So focus on the goal itself, or on the approach itself. It's really important. If you make one approach, 2, 3, 5, whatever, be appreciative of that. That is the goal. You're eliminating approach anxiety. You're not looking to get laid. It's, the means to the end, but that is what you're focusing on. So yeah, try not to get discouraged if you don't get any numbers or whatever. Once you reach type 3, understand that, of course, looking good is so important. You want to be a guy that girls want to be approached by. This whole topic in itself, and I have some links I'll get into. Just if you have any immediate ways to make a noticeable improvement in your appearance, take them. Put time and effort into it. Put some money into it. Like, get frequent haircuts, get some good outfits. Use online dating is another big one. I was able to, like, I honestly don't know. Like, when I started going out in cold approach, I was fortunately in a position where I was very good with online dating. If you were a part of the GLL scene, I had a full guide about it. That's literally like 80 or 90% of like all women I've hooked up with was through online dating. And when you get laid and when things are working well, you're not going to be so demoralized when approach doesn't go your way, because it doesn't impact your life. You still have an avenue to meet attractive women. So it really doesn't matter. So get good at that, honestly. If cold approach is like not really ideal for a lot of guys if you're completely lacking experience, just because it can be so demotivating, because it's very difficult and there's a lot that has to go right, and you have to have the, it's challenging. It's not easy. Now I have some tips here. The timeline is flexible. Don't push it off too much. Don't go any weeks without any approaches. We can just say that. Keep interactions on the shorter side. Again, approach a girl within 3 seconds when you meet her. That's super important. You'll just start talking yourself out of it. If you see her like, oh shit, I can go, you'll go through a bit of a cycle where you see a girl and your initial reactions is probably what you initially think. You'll be like, oh yeah, she's hot. And be like, oh shit, I gotta approach her. And it's like, oh crap. And then your mind is like scrambling to look for reasons not to approach, because that's just how it's scary. So you don't want to do it. But if you don't give yourself time to think, you're not going to give yourself time to talk yourself out of it. So places, mall, colleges, ideally not your own college, because you don't want to, develop that reputation. Especially college is already a great place to get laid. Don't be touchy. No touching. I think that was something I took away from the first version of this guide, The Good Looking Loser. So week 1, starting the drills. Do 5 of type 1. Again, that's asking for the time or whatever. Do it anywhere. The first one is going to be the most challenging. Just every single day, regardless. The first one is always a bit challenging. Tip of the week. I have a tip of the week for each week. What did I say? Since appearance is so important, you might as well head to the mall. Oh yeah, go to the mall, buy some clothes while you approach. That's, it just seems that much more legit, I guess, if you have a bag of clothes in your hand that you're not specifically going out to approach. And, that actually, I'm sure I've developed a bit of a reputation at like certain places that I would repeatedly go at certain times, certain days of the week to approach. And it doesn't matter, screw what other people think. You can meet the love of your life. So you don't want to limit that because some people think you're kind of weird going up and hitting on women. It's stupid. So anyways, example is I have a bunch of information. Again, check this out. Hey, do you know where TD Bank is around here? Week 2. Okay, so you're going to do 10 total. You're going to do 5 of type 1 and 5 of type 2. A good spot is the library. You can approach a situational opener, which is, mentioning about what she's reading or whatever. There's not a lot of places like that where you can incorporate, use a situational opener. A lot of the time it's like I'll see a girl, and as I'm going to talk to her, I will try to think up something unique in my head, but you want to move quickly. So that's why it's like you think of it on your way to talk to her, because otherwise if you just sit there and try to think of something creative, you just won't approach. Again, good to have openers and lines, pickup lines and stuff. That's all stupid, dumb shit. But for this type of thing, having something in your mind that you can say that you can rely on is important. So that's basically it. Week 3, 10 of type 1, 5 of type 3. I'll skip all this. You guys can check it out. Let me just skim through this. That's basically it, honestly. It's so fucking difficult, but it's so fucking rewarding. I honestly, like, it really changed my life. It just, on such a deep level too, just having the ability to meet women anytime, anywhere is fan-fucking-tastic. And if you can actually get yourself to look really, really good, you're going to have pretty high batting average. You're going to like really, I mean, you can almost tell at some point with like some women. I mean, maybe if you see just like the way she's talking to you or just like their body language, I don't know what it is, but like seeing some women, you can just tell if you approach them that they're going to be happy with you approaching. I don't know what it is. You just pick up on certain things that you might not even be consciously aware of, but it's amazing. I'll just say that. Yeah, that's it. I mean, God, I have a lot of information here, so check it out. At some point, I'll probably create a forum, or I'll direct everybody to a forum for where we could, so you can track each week as you go through it. That's pretty important. Got the community, like with Good Looking, that was a big part of the success that I've had, because that kind of thing is really difficult, and it helps to talk to others about it, how the approaches went. Now if you have like a buddy to go approach with, I don't really, for the most part, I think crutches aren't good. You want to be able to learn this on yourself, but because of the difficulty, you can get used to talking with women with a friend. If you can do that, you can do it alone. You're still making progress. So hopefully you have somebody to approach with, even though, I mean, like I did with Derek, for More Plates, More Dates, we used to approach, and it was kind of like almost competitive, and we're wanting to one up each other. And in some ways it became less about the approach, but in the end it did help reduce anxiety, which is approach anxiety, which is like what it's all about. So anyways, good luck with it. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what you're struggling with. It's been a long time since I've gone through an approach anxiety program, but it does work. I know a lot of guys can just they'll go through it and they might not even finish it, but they'll be in a better position. They'll already have the skills to do it enough, and you might find that you'll be in that position. But anyways, it's also not as hard overall. But let me know how it goes. Good luck. Peace.